Hello and welcome to the Armband. I'm your host Chris, and as always, Kieran is here with me today. How are you doing today, Geek?
Yeah, not so great after last week, but
You're here.
I'm here. So there you go. That's enough.
That says all you need to know about Gameweek 1.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's try and forget that a little bit. So today's show, we're going to obviously start by looking at our scores in the previous Gameweek 1. We're going to take a look at the upcoming fixtures to see which teams are worth targeting based off the little data we have so far, and then who those best picks might be. So we'll talk about who could be performing well, get our thoughts on the players that perform well in Game Week 1, and then also share where we are ahead of Game Week 2. If you're new to the show, thank you for stopping by and checking us out. Please hit that like button and subscribe. Looking to get at least 25 interactions on this video just to help us climb the ranks. And hoping to have you with us for the season. Right, let's get straight into it, Keek. Let's bring up your team first. Talk us through.
Yeah, I could be featured on FPL Disasters on Twitter this week and just cry about it for days. I went at the no Haaland, no Salah route. I should have just done the Haaland teams that I've had in the videos quite a few times and the Reinders and I pick, and it's just maybe I got swayed by your team last week and then you went the opposite direction. But live and learn, I guess. Like Cucurella and Porro were the only returns. I'm kind of glad almost the sales clean sheet went, because some people had triple and double like Forest defenders. And I went for Frimpong. He came off at 59 minutes, which is unbelievable. Apparently he's got hamstring niggles now, or possible issues. He's not flagged at the moment, but that's what's been said online. So I might have to just make a transfer for him straight away, because my team or bench this week doesn't look great in the terms of he might drop in price as well, so not good. Then basically everyone, all of my attackers, which I thought I had an amazing set of attackers, which obviously I thought maybe Game Week 1 wouldn't be so great, but I thought I'd at least cover some. And Fulkrug had a really great fixture on paper, and absolutely nothing happened there. Vert's captain, bad idea, I think, in the end. He looked kind of, I don't know, adrift slightly in that game. And then Palmer, I didn't watch the Chelsea game, not seen any highlights, but apparently he wasn't particularly good. Saka kind of close, but also didn't do too much. Watkins, I thought there was a good fixture. Bruno one DEFCON away from a +2.
Yeah, that was frustrating as well.
He created like 5 chances or something, which was like the most of most people this week, I think it was. So I've seen on a graphic somewhere, but and then benching a 9-pointer as well, which is just to rub salt in the wound. And just the team. I think it looks fine for next week, but at the same time, I thought it looked fine last week. And I think this is my worst ever start, honestly. It's 8.8 million out of 10.4 million players. So it's comfortably like 20 odd points below the average. It's the highest is obviously 127. So I'm like 60, 80 odd points behind the leaders already, which is just
it's nuts, isn't it?
Rough.
I think we've seen like loads of really varied scores just because of all the new chips. Like people have gone for really like very bench boost strategies off the start, and then wildcard Game Week 2. It's mean there have been some like big blow up scores, but I think at the same time probably it's best just to see where you are at the Game Week 19, or when everyone's at least had their first round of chips. But you're right, and what definitely we experienced, well, in some of our similar players, is that all the players you've got in your team your forward players at least, had really good pre-seasons. Wirtz, Saka, Bruno, obviously Palmer had the good Club World Cup, so did Pedro was scoring, Fulkrug did scored or assisted in every pre-season game, and so did Watkins.
Watkins,
and then obviously the player who we poo-pooed totally, Chris Wood, and Forest, who scored 1 goal all pre-season, scored 3 and 1/2. So
unbelievable.
So anyway, onwards, I think, to another to next game week for sure.
Yes. Let's forget this one.
Well, I did slightly better. I had a few more returners. Sanchez, cleaner for Porro, cleaner for Rodon as well. which was good for Leeds. And then my only other returner was the Salah captaincy, which was that big 94th minute one.
Shocking defending.
No,
I couldn't believe that when that went in.
It was bad, wasn't it? And I thought Bournemouth were going to like come back into that game and take some points, and then they just sort of threw it away at the end. I a bit like you, was a bit disappointed with Wirtz. Like, I watched the game and he seemed to be pushed off the ball so easily. He wasn't that incisive. He didn't seem to be getting in the box as much as what I've seen in pre-season. So yeah, I'm just a bit unsure about him like adapting to the league as quick as I thought. Like, I did think he was going to be so good, he'd be just ready to go. And yeah, he was a bit of a letdown, to be honest, in performance wise.
A few of his passes were just like millimeters from just like getting through to the last guy. Yeah. Like, so he was close. It was sort of flirted returns, just last minute like interceptions for his nice passes. But not looking great. I mean, I think he's had quite a few transfers out, so people are already thinking about selling, which I think is maybe a little bit too quick. But yeah, I can see why at the same time.
Yeah, I agree. So I ended on like 52 or 53, so 5 million-ish, but to be honest, that's like a game week rank, right? And it just, we'll see where we are a bit later in the weeks. Right, so we're going to jump into now just talking about the fixtures and who good to target, and we can sort of caveat this with who might have surprised us a little bit. So if I just bring up I've just got the next 4 fixtures on the screen, just sorted by sort of, let's say, attack difficulty. At the top of the ticker, Fulham, Burnley, Bournemouth, Crystal Palace, Sunderland, Wolves, Newcastle, Brentford, Arsenal, West Ham round out the top 10. So I'd say there's definitely teams in there which are like not at the moment like template picks. So it'd be good just to chat a little bit about who you think, or who sort of maybe looked interesting in game week 1 and maybe worth sort of investable or being investable in the coming weeks.
So the last game of the week was United versus Arsenal, and I was quite impressed by Man United, honestly. I thought I think they had more XG overall than Arsenal did, and like their fixtures over the next 4 to 6, not bad. Fulham away, I think it is this week, is it?
Yes, it is, yeah.
Yes, Fulham away, then Burnley at home, and obviously 3, which is great. City and Chelsea after that, but then after that they got Brentford away and then Sunderland at home. So yeah, there's fixtures there for them to be targeted at least. I was impressed by Mbeumo and Cunha, and like both looked good in the attack despite being shot out. Mbeumo had 5 shots, joint third of all players, and a 0.43 xG, which is pretty decent. And then Cunha 4 shots, 0.4 xG. Both higher than Bruno's output in xG, but obviously Bruno, I think, like I said earlier, saw a graphic where he created like 5 chances, and that was like joint top, I think, of the week. So small sample size, but I think those two are certainly going to pick up some points soon, and Bruno probably too, as well. And then Dorgu, he was very attacking, hit the post, and then United in general had 7th best defensive XGC of 1.1, so that's pretty good for a team that's not usually looking that great, and then obviously against a good team in Arsenal. So I think there's plenty of upside in this team, especially with like cheap defenders like Dorgu and then Mbeumo, Cunha. We saw what they did last year, and with Bruno and then Sesko in there as well. I think there's definitely going to be points and from these players soon. Like, Wirtz to a Mbeumo or Cunha, that could be totally fine. Like, to be honest, like there's money and value in those players, and they're going to start picking up points.
Definitely. And I also thought, on the flip side of Dorgu, if you don't want to go for the attacking returns, I thought Euro was an absolute magnet for DEFCON, and same price, so it's whether you go after that or the open play threat Dorgu offers. I thought he looked strong. Perhaps not like the best set of fixtures, but I look at Crystal Palace's next run and see Forest at home, who they're going to have a point to prove after the Europa League sort of dispute. Villa away, which I don't mind at all. Sunderland, West Ham, Liverpool, obviously, who they sort of beat, obviously on penalties, Community Shield, Everton and Bournemouth. I look at that run of like fixtures now and think they look great. And off the back of a really good showing against Chelsea. Now, I appreciate Eze is probably looking like he's going to leave. Gahey potentially is also going to leave as well. But I think what they showed last year when they recruited well under Glasner, and they got Lacroix in, and they also brought Sarr forward when they sold Elise. They know how to replace like top players and continue to do well. So they've obviously been linked with some attacking returners. So whilst I don't think any new players are going to be good, I do think that Mateta at 7.5 on penalties looked sharp in that game. He had most active of all the forwards in the game against Chelsea. Three shots, one big chance, and obviously now on penalties. I mentioned Sarr already, but also I think the potential for clean sheet and also DEFCON from Lacroix is really strong. Forest at home, I think if they revert back to their pre-season form, that looks like a good game. Sunderland at home, West Ham away, Everton away, and Bournemouth even at home I sort of fancy. And even I think you could happily play Lacroix at home against Liverpool because he played well against Chelsea and picked up lots of DEFCON. So if you're someone that's looking for a replacement at 5 million, maybe you and your Frimpong pick, I would think.
Yeah, or stick it on Munoz.
If you wanted, if the attack return, that's what the DEFCON gives you now. It's that balance. So yeah, despite the fact they didn't win this weekend, I do think Palace are going to be ones we want to start investing in, either from this game week or Sunderland, which is game week 4.
Yeah, Munoz only got 6 on the DEFCON, which is not ideal, but he offers more going forward, I suppose. Yeah, so. Hard to say who I'd replace Frimpong without, but I'm looking at Ait Nori as well and stuff like that. So yeah, but yeah, I like Palace too. Probably should have kind of like with Semenyo at Bournemouth, kind of looked past that first fixture.
Yeah.
Because Palace's, we kind of all were just looking at Chelsea thinking not great, and then other than that, now they look decent, and we probably should have. Yeah, looked past it, and people who went Semenyo obviously did amazingly. So yeah, agree.
Yeah, fair play to anyone went there. And then talking of another team that had a difficult game week 1 fixture, but now we're on what looks like quite a good run of fixtures.
Yeah,
in your boys.
Oh, you're talking to me, right? Wolves, yes. A good lead in there. I wasn't picking it up. Bournemouth. Everton, Newcastle, Leeds, Tottenham, Brighton in the next 6, which is really good fixtures. There's none there that are too scary that you can probably play your Wolves players in any of them. There is only really at the moment one to consider, because who knows what happened to Arias? Not sure why he got benched. That seemed like an odd situation. But so Jurgen, is it Strand Larsen? I can't remember his first name. 0.31 XG versus City, despite being very isolated, which is decent. He passed the eye test for me, and Wolves looked quite good in the first 30 minutes ish, and then they did create some chances. So I think if you own him, you should be absolutely pleased to own him, and I expect he's going to tick along nicely this season because he is absolutely the main man. There's no one challenging for the spot at all. I don't think they have basically any cover for his striker spot. So I fancy them to do well. Bournemouth defense didn't particularly look great against Liverpool. Agreed. Everton's defense lost. They lost to Leeds 1-0. Not a great thing to lose to the promoted team on the first day. So I think that there's good fixtures there, and he's probably going to get from the first 6, maybe 3 attacking returns. Would that be good? I think he probably would for 6.5. Yeah.
Well, I was really impressed with what I watched the first half of the game, and he just seemed because he is now the focal point of that attack, they just looked for everything, and all their best chances came from just their wing backs getting forward and just cutting the ball back to him. And he was unlucky not to maybe get a return in that game. He had 4 decent chances that I saw, and I'm quite happy to own him, and I do expect him to sort of tick along now with the better long run of fixtures. So I'm happy he's in place, really.
The draft I had before the last one, I had him. I had Reinders, and I had crap.
Well, let's talk about Reinders now, because we'll move on to who we're thinking about buying and whether it's worth. Because I want to get your opinion on Reinders, because I'm still not sure about him, and maybe I'm in the minority. Let me just bring him up, because his ownership is 26 or 27% now. And he's had a price rise to 5.6. Let me just double check while it's 27. So he's had a price rise. I wasn't interested at all during pre-season, despite those 2 goals in that last pre-season friendly, maybe wrongly. But he didn't do anything in the Club World Cup from an attacking point of view. He's a new player in the league. I think he played 3 times in the Club World Cup and no returns. And he just seems like now, we've got this Man City nailed 5.5 million midfielder who's going to return a goal and assist everywhere. I just don't see it. His numbers were really poor. His expected points were just 2.3. So he massively overperformed. He had 2 shots in the box, 0 big chances. 0 big chances created. I'm thinking, is he actually a must-buy? And when you look at just this game week alone, there were 13 players who were priced at 6 million or less who scored more than 5 points. So basically, like in old money, a return because of the new DEFCON system. And 13 less than 5 million. We would have been happy with Wirtz, Bruno, Saka, like Palmer, like these big midfield players scoring 5 points. And there were 13 less than 6 million who scored that. So, yeah, I'm still not sold on him. I don't think, like, the fixtures are like okay. Like Tottenham at home is okay, Brighton's okay, United I think will be difficult, Arsenal away will be difficult. The next 4 seem like tricky to me before Burnley. So what's your opinion on him, Matt?
His XGI was 0.34, so that's not exactly huge in the game. Like XG 0.2, XA 0.1, and he's still got a goal and assist.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was high on him before. It's just like, he was in my drafts, and I basically didn't have him in the end because I was going for Fulkrog, and I thought, what's the point of owning both of them if I have to bench one of them in the first week for their good fixture? So I was just like, yeah, let's just cheap down on Reinders down to 4.5, and I like him. I think he's gonna chip away at points and returns, but like he's not gonna do that every week. Like we know he's not going to. Like his top output in AC Milan team was something like 10 goals, which is really good, but like it's not every week sort of thing. So I get people buying him. He's cheap and everything, but who are they selling? Are they selling Wirtz for Reinders? I don't think that makes sense. And so I think if you, it depends who you're selling. Like I really don't know, to be honest. Like who was really that bad that you have to sell them for Reinders this week?
Like maybe Anderson owners went there, because I can't think there was many like popular template picks. Yeah, exactly. There were around 5.5 or 6 or even 7 who would have been started with to go to Reinders.
Reuter at 6, like people who went there, like he got a return, so there's no reason to sell. So who is? I don't really understand who's buying him right now. So. Like I like him, and I think their fixtures are good for attacking returns. Like they're against teams that are going to attack, like especially Spurs, Brighton, Man United. Like those are good for his chances to get returns, especially like sort of feeding Haaland. So I like that, but it's not sustainable. Like he did massively overperform this week. So let's just see what happens for Tottenham. He could get another goal and assist for Tottenham because it's Tottenham. So and then he could be 5.8 already, coming up to 6, So
No, I feel like a little bit like I missed the boat, but then at the same time, like, I was never. I can't even say like I made a mistake, because I was never truly interested. And like, let's take another example. I appreciate it's different, but like if I just look at the scorers, like O'Reilly for Brighton is a mid who's now on penalties for Brighton. He's like starts at number 10 or like right wing. He's more than likely going to play the majority of minutes this season. He's not like budged in price. Is it just like a bit of the Man City effect and he was on TV? Like I don't doubt Reinders is a good player and he's going to get returns, but I'm just not like sure he's the right move necessarily this week. Happy to be wrong. Probably will.
Well, I'd love him to blank this week. That would be fantastic. So yeah.
Who else then? Who do you think is like worth buying or questionable whether to buy this week?
Yeah, so because of my situation of having a 6 million defender that's got a possible injury issue and coming off before 60 minutes, and Bradley not fit as well, so I think he's came off early because they were trying to like keep him fit for the next game sort of thing. I'm looking at Aït-Nouri in that City team, possibly due to City as well, just the name. But 15 defensive contributions from Aït-Nouri, which is 3rd overall for all defenders. So obviously he's got attacking potential, as we've seen before in previous seasons, and then the DEFCON upside as well, which is what we was basically rare as hell, which was basically only Neco Williams last season from fullback perspective. So if he's going to be able to do that, plus having attacking upside, like he's why would we not all want that? So. But having said that, 0.06 XG and then an XA of 0.02 in that game, so obviously not great. But then he had 2 shots, 1 key pass, which is sort of encouraging. Like Vardiol was not in the squad as far as I saw, so he's not fit right now. So I assume that means he's going to be nailed on to start for the time being. I think, I mean, it was against Wolves, like clean sheet, fine. Maybe I'm not expecting clean sheets over the next couple, but maybe City could do that as well. So, maybe I just go Munoz and be like, it's probably makes more sense.
Yeah.
But attacking and DEFCON upside, that seems like someone
good,
you should absolutely be buying.
Yeah.
So I really need to think about the fixtures versus form, I guess, on this one.
I think you're right about it encouraging that Gvardiol is out. You're right, and he also, like you say, he surprised me with his DEFCON. Like, I didn't expect many City defenders or players would reach the threshold because, it's not often they've got like that kind of attack against them. Like Tarkowski and Murillo, I can understand because those teams will sit back. So for Aït-Nouri to pick it up, and I think was it Lewis as well that picked it up.
Yeah, he got assist, I think.
Yeah. So some surprising scores. I'm surprised at his ownership, but maybe it's warranted. And nice, like 9 points to start the season. I don't mind like Aït-Nouri.
Yeah, I think he should at least be nailed on to start. But like, there were still so many surprises in that City team. Like Stones playing out of nowhere. Yeah. Like Trafford starting, nobody expected that. Like, it's like Marmoush bench. Like, it's so difficult. So difficult. Like Bob playing. Who saw that coming? Kieran.
I was just going to say, and it looks like they're trying to get rid of a few players. Like Savinho was heavily linked with Spurs. Akanji today, there's reports that he might be on his way out. So I think there's still players to leave City, and obviously if that leaves Aït-Nouri as one of the core group of defenders who regularly plays, then for 6 million, if he's getting those kind of returns, then he's going to be well worth his value in that team.
Yeah.
And then just to keep the City theme going on players we should buy. Well, we were doing the notes, I was thinking, well, the reason it's probably so important to talk about them now is because we haven't seen them in pre-season. Like we saw one game and the Club World Cup where they were a bit average because they were conceding quite a few chances, mainly due to Ederson. But obviously Haaland's come back. These three players we've all spoken about are not differentials by any means, but I kind of think they're definitely not in the X template. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I think it's worth talking about because most drafts are Salah or none. So to see Haaland up at 27% was a bit of a surprise. I think really he reminded us of what a good asset he can be, and I think also if he was priced slightly less, maybe 13.5, there definitely would have been more of a divide. I think at the moment I'm not really thinking I'm going to sell Salah to fund him. But there is moments in this season, perhaps after that Arsenal game, which could time with the wildcard where you've got Burnley at home, or it could be a free hit week, Brentford away, Everton at home, Aston Villa away, Bournemouth at home. That's a nice block of 5 games there where he could really benefit. But I feel like still need to see more of what City are like this season. Are they going to sort of revert back to where they were at the middle of last season, or are they going to return to what Haaland was in his first 2 seasons in the Premier League? And the player who I'd be looking at to sacrifice if I was going to try and squeeze Haaland would be Palmer. If he keeps playing on the left of the 10 rather than the right where he performs better, I wonder if there is, with the DEFCON, can we squeeze in another 5.5 million midfielder in place of Palmer and spend that money on upgrading a striker and playing 3-5-2 with Haaland as one of the two and having 5.5 million. So that's probably what one of your drafts was. Not that I can remember exactly.
I had Palmer in there still, but
did you?
Yeah.
But I feel like that's probably the way to go at it. If Haaland's back being more of a talisman than Palmer, you've probably got better captaincy option for the season. So it's probably a bit too early. But Haaland obviously has a good record against Spurs, 4 goals in 6 appearances against them, and the XG he accumulated over the weekend against Wolves, 2.01, was the most of all players, 3 big chances.
Distance, I think.
They looked settled, and I was quite impressed with them.
Yeah, you probably should have seen that coming with Palmer. What he's been like. I think I saw something where he hasn't scored in an open play in the Premier League since January or something.
That's crazy, isn't it?
But
I think we backed it because of the fixtures, and I'm just not sure.
And a kind of good performance it was a good performance in the Club World Cup final, but is he just duped us? I think he has. All right. Finally, kind of an obvious one because he did really well, but Semenyo, 7.1 million, 9% owned right now. Well, as of the note taking, hard to argue against buying him this week because of how he did last week, and then their fixtures, 2 goals versus Liverpool. yeah, what is their fixtures?
It's so nice. Wolves home, Tottenham away, Brighton home, Newcastle away. So 3 home games, then next 4, then Leeds, Fulham, Crystal Palace, Forest. So they're good until game week 9 now.
Yeah, it's like people who had Evan Nilsson, like you just stashed him on the bench or just played him like it was great. Like he didn't really do much last week. Maybe he'll be the one that sort of does stuff this week. But yeah, Semenyo did look really impressive. Like running off the ball and really good runs and just forward, just rapid, like taking on defenders. Like good to see. So I don't think he's going to play another like really high expansive like high line defense until like maybe Spurs in game week 3 maybe. And then Semenyo has obviously got a good chance to do well. I think Newcastle might have that chance as well. So 0.9 XG was only better by 4 players in the game as well. But he did have 0 key passes, 0 big chances created. So a slight concern was for a kind of winger-ish player who you would think be feeding someone like Evan Nilsson as being a bit more creative. So I'd like to see that improve. But yeah, he's a good price that you can sell a Verts or a Bruno or whatever that aren't doing well, or a Palmer, and just get Semenyo for 7.1 million and have money to do whatever you want with, really. So he was pretty inconsistent last year, so let's see if he can actually sort of bring that up, because he was just like, he was a darling last season and just people just liked him from before, and he was kind of he was inconsistent for a long time. So let's see if he can improve that. But the start is shown that maybe he can, and even in the tougher games he can get returns. So
and you're getting a good minutes pick with him. Like he's pretty much a 90-minute player and 18 returns last season, so he has got the capacity to do well. Obviously that Bournemouth side's changed, but he's definitely one I would, if I was coming on to a game week 2 wildcard because I was so unhappy with it, he'd be one I'd be looking at because of these fixtures.
Yeah, and Bournemouth surprised in general. Like we thought they looked cack in pre-season,
exactly.
And they looked pretty good against Liverpool. So maybe that's just due to being able to counter-attack. I don't know, but we'll see coming forward.
Doesn't it? Like pre-season form just like accounts for nothing sometimes.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah,
it all loads up. Right, so those are our 4 players. I think that we both like. Questionable whether to buy this weekend for sure. Let's take a quick look now at our teams. We're only going to be very brief on this because we'll do another show later this week talking about captaincy too. So I'm quite boring, really. I don't think I'm going to make any transfers. I'm opting to play Sanchez over Dubravka. Steve's in there, Murillo, Porro. Same midfield line and same forward line as previously. Palmer, Salah, Bruno, Hall, Verts, Strand, Larson and Watkins. So I'll give some more thought to captaincy, and we'll chat more about that later in the week and see if any team news comes out. So that's where I am. And just very briefly on yours.
It looks pretty good for attacking wise, but I've got Porro against City away. It doesn't sound great, but then I've got Anderson on the bench against Man United at home, which doesn't sound great either. Then I do have that Frimpong issue, so I guess we'll see. Porro, I'll probably just start him because, as you mentioned to me in our chat, they play a back 3, and so he could play wing back against tougher teams. So that seems like it could be a good thing to just play him forward, just see what happens. But might get a few more defcons in that situation as well. Captaincy on Saka right now. Leeds at home. Seems like that's why I bought him for. So he's going to be there. Like there is no other captain I would like this week in my team with going no Salah and no Haaland. So on Saka, fingers crossed. I don't know. Maybe I'm going to have to bail out of this this no Haaland Salah pretty quick. But we'll see for now.
Yeah. I did read. I mean, it's not been confirmed, but there was an Athletic articles from like a Swedish journalist to say Gorkaez is the penalty taker, but it's not been like verified yet. It was just some journalist tweeting about it, so take that with a pinch of salt. I also quite like Watkins, to be honest, as a backup captaincy if Brentford really are that bad. It's not a bad shout this weekend. But we'll chat more about that later in the week. Cool. All right, we'll wrap up there, and we'll be back just to share our updated teams and have a little bit more chat about captaincy options on Thursday. Cool. All right, thanks everyone. Cheers.
Thanks all.
Bye-bye.